戦争と少女、海外の反応、皆さんどうもゲブです。僕のチャンネルへようこそ。Today I'm reacting to a brand new song by ZORN called 戦争と少女. A lot of people told me to react to the song. My friend online said this is the first song I need to react to when I get back. So I'm really looking forward to it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Reflection Eternal, dude. This is one of my favorite Nujabes songs, dude.
少女に見えた光景、母親の背で燃える赤ん坊、それでも燃えぬかわいそう、気づけば静けさだけの朝、花柄の皿と焼けの腹、友達と別れた道の近く、額の下で生き延びた。
Whoa. Man, so this is definitely about World War II. So he's talking about a girl that, experienced the bombing, being displaced from her family. It reminds me of, I know in college I watched a video of the Ghibli films, the Grave of Fireflies, dude. Very powerful film, paints a picture of a young girl and her family getting displaced by the bomb in World War II. The atomic bombs was crazy, man. War is an ugly thing, and a lot of casualties are just everyday people, which is a terrifying thing to witness. He basically is telling that story of the girl who witnessed that thing, had a very normal life. Then all of a sudden, dude, like everything changed because of war. And the crazy thing that one of these lines he says, and there was nothing left but silence in the afternoon, after the bombing and everything, which is really crazy, man. Let's get back into it. ZORN always has very deep lyrics. That's wow, dude. So talking about post-war, he says post-war is real war, man. After the aftermath, after the ugliness of war, sometimes is more worse than the war itself, man. You think about countries like Iraq and Iran, where the U.S. came in there and did what they did. A lot of people find it very hard to be able to have a normal life after the war and everything that happens, dude, which is very sad to hear kind of this story, saying her brother didn't remember her after 10 years, based on all the trauma, and talks about, scavenging, being hungry, starving and everything. And you would think that the brother would remember her, but, based on what he experienced, he wasn't able to, which is like, wow, the way that he paints this picture is just so jarring that it leaves me speechless. It's just, wow. That's deep, dude. We talk about war, we talk about world peace, but we can't stop quarrels fighting, man. That's just so deep, man. If you really think about it, it's just like, can there ever really be world peace when we can't stop petty arguments that go on day by day? Like, how can you expect there to actually be world peace? That just gives me chills, dude. Just like, oh, man, that just, wow. Can you really expect there to be world peace when people fight over the littlest things every day? Can you expect countries to get along with each, like, that blows my mind, man. Wow.
目の前繰りで虹がかかんのは雨の後歴史の末っ子誰もがそう近所じゃが近所が笑い合う聞こえるじゃあまた明日
You heard it again. Jamata Ashita. That's what he said in the very beginning of the song. The cycle repeats itself. Oh, and that's so symbolic. Reflection eternal is just like eternal reflection.
You're a river, you're a rainbow, you're a flower, you're a river, you're a rainbow.
I wonder if that's his daughter. Or is that yeah, I think it's a girl. Man, that was heavy. Alright, let's talk about it.戦争と少女, man. This was a very heavy song, man. Like, I'm really just a loss of words, just how he really painted the picture of just being able to feel that pain. And when he says in the third verse, he's like, he's not interested in war, you know what I'm saying? And whenever he sees it on the news, he just changed the channel. But it's really not that hard to understand. The girl that he's speaking of, you know, whether this is nonfiction or fiction, people actually experienced that during World War II, you know, during the bombs, you know, after the bombs, everything that happened, people were really put in a terrible place to live the rest of their lives, man. And some people never recovered. Of course, some people died. It was a very tragic thing that happened in World War II. And he's like, what if that was my daughter? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so chilling to put yourself in that situation. And I think it's very poetic just to use the beat, Returnal Reflection by Nujabes, just as we reflect on history. History often tends to repeat itself if we don't learn from it, you know, with all the wars going on today, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I won't say of course, it's not as bad as it was during the, you know, days of old where World War II, World War I, you know, happened. Now, today's not as bad as those times, but if we aren't careful, we can repeat that cycle. And what he said in the beginning was like, Jamata Ashta was the last thing that I heard, you know what I'm saying? I'll see you tomorrow, people having a very normal life. And all of a sudden, everything changes because of the decision, you know, of war and everything that happens and everything that comes with that. And in the last verse, he was just like children playing, you know, and again, they're like, Jamata Ashta, not knowing what could come. And that's the thing, we never know what can come. World War III could happen, all these terrible things can happen. And it's just like, just the deepness of just having that reflection of the dangers of war and how it's terrible. And he doesn't want to be political about it, but he's just, as he's reflecting on it, he can just see of just how it's unfair. You know, a lot of people that start war, they're in a position to where they're sending people off to be able to handle all the, you know, to do the grunt work, to be the soldiers, and they don't have to experience the pain that everyday people like me and you, that we have to experience, you know what I'm saying? Which is just like those stories of people that go through tremendous pain, go through tremendous struggle, that have a lot of loss. Those stories are just throughout history, are some of the stories that are forgotten. And he's definitely doing an ode to that, just to not forget the people that suffered so much because of the selfishness of war, man. This was a really just very introspective, very deep song that, like, of course, ZORN could do something like this, man. Like, just the way he paints it, just so, like, so chilling, dude. I really enjoyed this song. Let me know what you think about this. I wonder, you know, when I learned about World War II, you know, a lot of things, I feel like an American education system, and you can tell me about the Japanese education system, we only tell parts of the story. And then when I got into college, and my major was Asian studies, but a concentration Japanese culture, I learned so much more just about how gruesome World War II was to the Japanese and to other countries surrounding it, and what we did and what they did, and all the parts that played into that. And a lot of things, we are taught when we're growing up, because we kind of hide those parts of history, what I'm saying, just so we can kind of gloss over it. But like the older you get, the more you learn about even African American history. I learned so many things in college that I did learn growing up. And I feel like a lot of people, they just kind of gloss over it and they hide those things because it's a very ugly story. And he's definitely reminding us just the ugliness of war, and just that little girl that was 8 years old. I'm not exactly sure what he said. I think she was 8 years old, that experienced that traumatic experience, reminding us this could repeat itself if we aren't careful with our actions, man. So I really found this song like very deep and very telling, what I'm saying, very, very convincing to be able to hear it. And thankfully they had the subtitles, so I was able to kind of understand what he was saying, dude. So very amazing song. If you have any more ZORN songs you want me to react to, comment down below. And as always, I'm looking forward to your recommendations. Overall, this is a very deep song. 皆さん、以上です。見てくれて本当にありがとうございました。That's it, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. この曲についてどう思いますか？僕らについてどう思いますか？コメントしてください。もっとリアクション動画見たい方は、この動画いいねとチャンネル登録お願いします。よろしくお願いします。これでおしまい。また今度ね。